Afternoon and welcome to this week's meaningful conversation. It's all going on this morning. It's all going on. So Paul is trying to join us. Last heard from Paul, he was trying to sort the internet out. He was going onto the roof of the boat. We haven't heard anything from him since, so we're hoping he's not fallen in. Hopefully he can join us. The sound you can hear is the kettle boiling because I've just asked Glenn to make me a cup of tea. And if you're wondering where we are, we're at the caravan in Devon. No one saw that coming this week. We didn't either until I think it was Tuesday about 5 o'clock. We were like, let's do this. Anyway, just setting the scene and letting you know what's going on. Oh, Paul's in, but we can't see him. He's saying backstage. 1 second, people. I'm so sorry about this. We're like, so hello, Susan, who's joining us. I haven't even said who we are. So we've got Maxine here from Never Too Late, Our Journey. Myself from A Life Full of Meaning. And Paul is here somewhere, but he's just saying he's backstage in the studio. I'm just gonna. I haven't got a backstage button. Like I don't know where he is. I'm like, I don't know.
Is he not showing up on your screen to be able to bring him into the room or anything now?
I've got like a private chat where Paul's just said that is there. It's saying I'm backstage only, and the host can see him. I can't. Oh my goodness! It's going to be one of those sort of days as well, isn't it? Paul, if you can hear us, if you come out of that chat and try again, then let's see if we can get you on. Hello. I heard him.
Yeah.
We can hear Paul. When you join the software Restream, it makes a noise when you appear, and we keep hearing Paul coming in. Let me just change to some different layouts, see if we can. No.
Does he not go into a waiting room, Lisa?
No, it's not like Zoom. I can't see. This is what everyone's tuned in for, isn't it? Complete chaos. Complete chaos this morning. I'm just pressing the need help button. You guys carry on, says Paul. I wonder. Oh,
he's going to sign out and come back in again.
Okay, Paul's going to try that. I can't get rid of the help thing now. It's like blocking the whole screen. What chaos it is. Oh, well. So, hello, Susan. Hello. Is that Phil is it Phil? I'm so bad with names.
Yes, it's Phil.
So bad with names. Hello, Phil, as well. Oh, Paul, we see you. What was going on there?
I think I have two separate tabs open. Sorry, it's a bit chaotic.
I want to know where backstage is now. I want to know where it is. So
it's like being a ghost trying to contact you from the other side. Then
it was so bizarre. Anyway, Paul, how are you? Where are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. It was so thick with fog this morning, you couldn't see further than 70 yards, but I needed to move because the internet was hopeless and the phone signal was hopeless. That was so brilliant. I've been through about 9 bridges in the thick fog. You could only see boat lights coming towards you. That's how bad it was. But yeah, I managed to moor up at 11:10. I thought that'll give me a load of time to jump on and join the conversation. No.
And then it all went wrong from there. It doesn't matter though, Paul, because you're here
better
now.
late than never.
Yeah, that's perfect. Maxine, where are you?
We are now, we're still on the Chesterfield, but heading towards the Trent. We go back up the Trent, I think we'll get, I don't know. Anyway, we're going on the Trent on Saturday.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Great.
And I'm in Devon. I'm in Devon at the caravan.
Nice.
I was saying, Paul, we had no idea this is how we were going to end the week. Glenn came up with the idea Tuesday afternoon and was like, should we go to Devon? I was like, oh, yes. And usually it is me coming up with all the crazy ideas. Not this week, Mr. Warner. So that is good. So hello to everybody who's joining us. Sorry for such a chaotic start there, but we're here. No, it's not your fault, Paul. We're just blaming it on technology. So today's topic, life purpose. We don't shy away from the big stuff here. We're just like, no, let's do it. So should we jump straight in?
Yeah.
And if you're watching live, feel free to shoot us your answers to these questions as well. So, do you think people are born with a life purpose? Let's just go with a quick yes or no. We'll go around yes or no. Anyone watching, let us know. Yes or no. Maxine, yes or no?
No.
No. Paul?
Yes, and maybe no, but yes.
I'm a yes as well. So if you're watching, let us know. Susan's saying yes. So she's with us. Now, Maxine, what makes you think that? Or do you or is it something you've never thought about?
Yeah, I have thought about it quite a lot. But I think that things that happen to you within as you're growing and changing and everything, that then determines your purpose. So you're not. I don't think you're physically. You're born with it. I think it's the way that you evolve and you start growing. Then you find your life purpose.
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. When I look back through my life, I can see that maybe purpose is something, experiences has molded that. What do you reckon, Paul? Thanks, Maxine. Thank you. What do you reckon, Paul?
Well, I wish I had more time to check this because, and I know I've had a full day, but I had a meditation, and in this meditation it said, live a life of purpose because, you've got to live this life of purpose. And it sort of made sense, but also Maxine always makes sense. So that makes sense as well. I suppose, can it be a life of purpose if your life changes and sends you on a different path or direction? I mean, this sounds really crazy. And whether my mum made this up and got this printed, but when I was little, it said, if you were born on the 23rd of October, this was in a newspaper predicting children's futures. If you were born on the 23rd of October and your name is Paul, you will become a magician. All right, that is. And I'm like, wow, the mum swears it was a real clip out of the paper. I don't like that's bizarre. But then I need to check. My mum's probably forgot all about that now. But as a kid, that's like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. But then, do we live a life of purpose? Or do we, like a stream, following a certain route? Or because our life changes and our story changes? I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Well, I must say, I was thinking, I think, yes, we are born with a life purpose, but now listening to Maxine and you, Paul, I'm thinking, well, maybe it is our life experience. We're touching into that delicate area of destiny. We've touched on this before, haven't we? Is our life destined, from the beginning? So let's just have a look. Sally says yes as well. Kelly says, I'm undecided. And one day more aboard. Here we go. Let's have a look. I think Maxine is right. You are shaped by your experiences and influences, and your purpose changes at different stages. I think so. I think so. Sue's just said, brilliant, Paul. Did you have a perm, Paul?
No, I had really long hair.
I was just thinking back to your mum saying that. And I'm thinking that any ambitious parent could mock something up and show their child. Like it says, if your name's this and you're born on this day, you're going to be a doctor or a barrister or something like that. And it's like subtle underpinning. So anyway, the reason I wanted to discuss this today, for the last, what it's got to be 3 or 4 months, I have been on about, do we have this almost like obligation to live this best life, to be of service to the world? And I've been going round and round in circles with that for months, haven't I?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of days ago, I remembered that way back in about 2008, I discovered what I thought was my life purpose. Okay. And at the time, I was doing work that I just absolutely, it didn't feel like work. I felt like I was just living my life purpose. And I'd sort of forgotten that over the last 10 years. And when I remembered that, everything sort of fell into place. All that sort of not worrying, but all that sort of navel gazing I've been doing over the last couple of months, it was like, well, it's simple. Just live your purpose. And then that got me thinking, well, has everyone got a purpose? Are we born with a purpose? I never just take it and just think, well, just run with it. I always have to then like unpack it. Like, well, are we born with it? So now no one's got to share anything they don't want here. If I say, have you got a life purpose? Have you discovered it? Are you living it? And what is it? Don't feel that you've got to share anything that's like you're not happy to share with. But shall I go first? Because I feel so back in, as I said, it was around 2008. I realized that there was 3 themes that either brought me great joy or I just felt so connected whilst I was doing these. So these were, you're not going to be surprised at these, right? It was conversation. It was talking. It was talking, conversation. It was connecting with others and being part of a community. They were the things that I recognized just made like my heart full. If I'd sat down with someone and had a great conversation, very much like we do every Thursday, it always makes me feel great. So I think my life purpose is around those 3 things. It's around being in or creating communities, enabling people to connect and starting conversations. And that's the work I was doing back in 2008, which just absorbed me. And somewhere along the line, I'm not saying I completely forgot about it, but it stopped being a guiding, my guide. It sort of, I still did those things, but without purpose. It was not intentional. So yeah, that's me. Paul, have you discovered your life purpose?
I don't know. Maybe maybe it is to entertain people, because I was a professional, well, I am still a professional magician. I've been doing that for 35 years, and I've always enjoyed being on the stage and having an audience. And now I'm doing YouTube. That's another way, isn't it, of speaking to people and hopefully entertaining people with the videos and photography that we do. And maybe I've always had this yearning to do my art. And is it that thing that if you feel like you're not living your life with the purpose that you're intended to live it with, can that make you miserable? I took about a 30-year break from art because of art college. It made me fall out of love with art, and I've heard this from so many people, because they don't want you doing realistic art. It needs to be that what they call fine art, which is basically splashing paint all over a canvas. And to me, I think anyone could do that. But when you try to do art that was realistic, our tutors told us that anyone could do that. And it sort of made me fall out of love with art. And I've always done magic and enjoyed it. But was it really just a job? And really, was my passion always art? And I've always felt like I should be doing some kind of photography, some kind of filming. Even from a young age, I had a cine camera, and I used to have a little instant camera. Do you remember those little cameras, like a cartridge camera? Was it a 110? And you used to slide it across, and you stuck a flash on top of it, and you got about 5 flashes, and then that was it. You had to buy a new flash cube. But yes, I've always done photography, and I've always liked doing art. And I don't know, maybe I'm fitting into my purpose in life.
What do you think, like, as you get older you create this life, and if you're on the right track, then you discover your purpose almost by accident, because you then think, well, hold on, this is what I love, this is what I'm doing, and this is what brings me and the world around me, the most joy and value.
I mean, my life's like everybody's life, it goes off in different directions, but then it sort of seems to focus itself again. And all these things that I've been learning along the way, photography and filmmaking, and then editing, and then because of lockdown I had the time to do more of the research side of it, and more time to do my art. So is it destiny, or is that your life purpose? I don't know. But also, as we get older, do we do more of the things that make us happy, and that is more focused on our life purpose?
It's a good point. It's a good point, because we can waste a lot of years searching for it. So we'll get on to that in a bit. Thanks, Paul. What about you, Maxine?
I think over the last 10, 12 years, I think because of what happened 12 years ago, obviously for that reason, my life completely changed. And that's what now I definitely have got a life purpose, and it's supporting people more because of what I went through, and it makes me so much happier when I can see that I can help people. And so yes, I definitely nowadays, but up until then, no, I don't think it's just a massive change, and I do it because it makes me happy, and I know it's helping other people. And it's like my writing. I've always used to love telling stories when Lizzie was little, and now that's why I think I started doing the writing side of things, because it just gives me a buzz, and I know children have really enjoyed it, and so it's that's another thing, just to as you say, it makes people happy and it makes yourself happy as well.
Thanks for that, Maxine. For anyone not watching, are you happy to share what happened 12 years ago?
I had a 20-year-old daughter, and she got killed in a car accident, and then a few months later I found out my husband was having an affair, so I left him, and so I literally lost my daughter, my husband of nearly 25 years, and I changed my job within 6 months. So I mean, my world was just completely thrown upside down. But within that time, I also met Steve, my now current husband. So it was just a whirlwind. I mean, it was a mess. I didn't find anybody that I could talk to properly, and if I did, they were charging a horrendous amount of money, where at that time it wasn't something I wanted to or could really afford to spend loads of money just to go and talk to somebody. And that's why I do what I do now. And I've had lots of people tell me I don't charge enough and things like that, which they're right, but I know I can help people, and that's why I do what I do with the coaching side of things.
Yeah.
It's not
Thanks,
just about the
Max.
money.
Yeah.
It's not.
Thanks,
That's
Maxine.
what I say, Paul. It's. I don't do it for that at all. Obviously,
Yeah.
I can't not charge anything at all. Even though I do it occasionally, but it's it's just
Yeah.
give them peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would really fit into what you were saying about life circumstances then define your purpose.
Yeah.
I wonder, before I'm talking about it, in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, whether that desire to always help people, but obviously without, in that situation, whether that was something that you did naturally, do you think?
I think if looking at my career, yes, it probably was. Because I was always a team leader or manager, and I was supported my team, and so I've always had that in the background, just not to the extent.
Yeah.
It has changed quite a lot.
Thanks, Maxine. Thank you for sharing that. That's that's really interesting. Susan, let's have a look what Susan's saying. I think as we get older, we're more confident about exploring new skills, and we discover things about ourselves we never knew existed. But I do think we're all born with certain gifts that help us find a purpose. That is wonderful, Susan. Yeah, that is really well put. And Phil, what's Phil saying? Definitely agree with Maxine. We're all born exactly the same and make our own way and choices in life. I don't think we're born with a purpose. Yeah, it really tips into that whole destiny thing, doesn't it? It does. Susan also says, perhaps we confuse purpose with meaning. Our only real purpose is to learn to love living, but meaning tends to be more about service to ourselves and others. Yeah, that's and Pamela's just said, It's a Wonderful Life film comes to mind. That is my all-time favorite film. I love it. I love it. You do too. Yeah. Sorry, my voice is so croaky. Sorry, falling apart. I was saying to Maxine, Paul, before you joined us, I'm actually dreaming of fruit. I think my body needs vitamins.
I'm dreaming of cake.
Yeah. I think I've actually gone off cake. I mean that's
Wow.
I know. This is how crazy my life is. Kath comes up with something that is really valid. Hello all. I retired last year and I'm quite bereft as I feel I have no purpose. Now, I've got experience of that with Glenn, because Glenn retired when he sold his business, and then he only lasted a couple of months, and then he went to work for a friend for a couple of years, and then we had lockdown, and that work stopped, and I found that Glenn's mental health, he struggled. He felt he had no purpose, and he found he was getting up later and later every morning, and the day was just going, and this cycle of no purpose was really not great. So that's why Glenn went and got a job for 3 days a week, just for that purpose. So it's really interesting that you say that, Kath. I wonder if there's a way to find purpose. There's got to be a way to find purpose, but to find purpose when you're older, and it's almost like starting your life again, isn't it? Because the thing that's been central to your life for perhaps decades is gone. And all the things that are pinned to that, I mean, not just the work itself, but the traveling to work, the people that you'd built relationships with over the years, and all of that. And although it is very different, Maxine, from your experience of your life completely changing, there are parallels with you're starting again with a completely different life, aren't you?
Yeah, totally.
And that must be really bewildering, to know where to start. So yeah. Maybe next week or in a couple of weeks we could do one about starting over, because although retiring is one, and Maxine, a tragedy brought about you starting over, but I think people have all experienced that sort of starting over and what works and what that feels like. Let us know in the comments if you think that would be a good one. Best of luck, Kath, with finding purpose. That brings me
it's grieving for what you've actually lost, because obviously your life has completely changed, and it's just trying to find new things that you enjoy and that you feel that the purpose is to get up and go and do something, and it just takes time, and it's
absolutely. Yeah. Kath also says, I remember Glenn saying this in your vlogs. I would love a little job, but I have a chronic illness. I have to find a purpose again, yes, but more difficult for me now. I hope to get there eventually. I'm starting over in different life circumstances. Yeah, that's really tough, Kath. That really is. People who live with chronic illnesses, I think, are, life is difficult, because it changes from day to day. So Susan is saying that she's sending her love to Kath, and says that I really thought the healing thing, she's retired from being a holistic therapist, really thought that the healing thing was her purpose, but when I retired I returned to art and now do that. I wonder if purpose is multifaceted like us as humans. Hello to Mark joining us. There are many organisations and charities who are keen to have retired volunteers helping to fill staffing gaps. Volunteers are weight in gold. That is very true, actually, and Glenn actually has spent his life volunteering. I mean, he volunteered in the police for 15 years and then has done lots of volunteering roles. Even when he was busy with, life and, a young family and all of that. And Glenn feels volunteering is really important to him. It's just something that, he loves to do.
Yeah. I like what Susan says. And is that true? Is purpose having a passion?
Well,
is that the same thing?
Yeah. Is it my purpose? I don't know. I think now it's about having a passion. I think, and I've said this before, haven't I, that when we live joyfully, I feel I'm not, I'm not like this is the word, this is the truth, but this is what I think. When we live joyfully, when we are happy, we are of service to the world. right? I've tried it the other way. I've tried changing the world by protesting and being angry at stuff going on. It didn't end well. The world was still messed up, and I ended up getting quite depressed, right? So I think we do, when we're happy, it makes the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
When we work on things that are our passion, then we are more connected, we're more joyful, because they go hand in hand. So maybe our purpose is whatever brings us joy. I don't know. What I do know is that sometimes people spend their life searching for their purpose and maybe end up wasting it because they're looking for something that's missing, when really, by just doing the stuff that brings us joy, you're there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I've always felt like I'm an entrepreneur, and even from a young age, I used to get plants and cut them up and divide them and think I could sell them. So all through my teen years and early 20s, I thought, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40, and it's all about making money and impressing people. But then everything changes, doesn't it? Your goals change, your life experiences make you change your outlook on life, and it puts everything into perspective.
But I wonder, but I keep coming back to the fact that I've always been chatty, right? I've always been chatty. So it's no surprise to me that conversation, communication, connection, and you know, that it's no surprise I'm here. Paul, you've always loved entertaining, you know, whether, you know, throughout your whole life. Maxine, you've always supported people and helped them, you know, be the best they are in whatever situation. Is it our personalities, who we are? I don't know. And then it just changes. Susan says, yes, Lisa, absolutely. It's all about energy and vibration. And she also says, I think we're never too old to learn something new. Kath says, I think a purpose can be a passion if you don't need to earn a living from it. People are very lucky if their job is also their passion. Yeah. 100%. 100% there. I think, but then saying that though, I've heard from people who are like creators or makers, and they love doing something, and then they start monetizing that, and it's really funny how the love for that then diminishes. We used to be moored next to someone years ago in Northampton Marina, a few boats down from us, and this guy told me that he loved driving lorries. When he started driving, he just absolutely loved it. It was his joy. He loved being out on the road. And very quickly, well, not very quickly, over a couple of years, it turned to the thing he hated more than anything. And isn't that strange? You know, how the things that you know make us change. I just think it's time to move on at that stage. You know, time to move on. That's okay, done that. Time to move on. So yeah. So how can people find purpose? Have we hit the nail on the head when we've said it's the stuff that brings us joy, or do you think there's more to it?
I think it's the stuff that brings us joy.
Yeah.
I think if we can do more of that and less of the other stuff.
Yeah. But maybe purpose is something heavy. You know, it's like, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, the world is Glenn always says that I have completely rose tinted glasses, and I'm like, yes, Glenn, and I like the world this way. But you know, the world is a difficult place, and there's people out there who feel it's their life purpose to tackle some of the really tough stuff. So maybe it's not all about joy. Maybe it's just joy for us that are just like, you know, coming from that place. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is people are out there doing the tough stuff.
But they enjoy doing that. So it's joy for those individuals. They obviously, everybody has a different thing to make that, you know, that they enjoy doing. And some people like to tackle it. They're the way their brain works, so that they can tackle different difficult situations, and they get a buzz from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The country, but then people drive that. I wonder if past president, especially in the year afterwards, purpose in life. That's a tough.
Paul, could you say that again? Because you cut out for me just as you were talking.
Yeah, I was saying, I couldn't think of any worse job than being president or prime minister. Why do people have that passion to do that? And do you think ex-presidents of places like the USA, because that's got to be a tough job, how people sleep at night, I don't know, with the decisions they've got to make. But then do you think afterwards, after they've served in office, they then think, I have served my life purpose and that's what I was meant to do?
Well, Paul, I mean, that's a great observation, because for me, when I look at, I agree with what you're saying. Okay, that, you know, to be prime minister or president or the head of something, I think falls into two things. The way I see it is power or service, or maybe they are entwined, and who knows. But you know, so I think being in a position of power like that, you know, you are, well, let's look at the Queen. You know, she felt she was in service to the country. And you know, I don't know if you saw on TV, but I heard that she often would sign her letters, "Your servant Elizabeth." You know, and yeah, so whether you're driven to do that, and then once it's done, I mean, do you just think, well, that's it, I've done my job now, I've done my job, that's it, life purpose done, tick, I'm gonna sit down and take it easy? I don't think it works like that.
No, they'll find something else. Yeah,
I think it takes a certain sort of person. So Alan's just says, this is so funny watching this at 10 p.m. Adelaide time. You guys are in daytime. We are. Kath says, I think purpose gets people out of bed in the morning, so it has a serious side. Without a doubt, I agree. I saw what it did to Glenn when he didn't have a purpose to get out of bed. It didn't work for him. Susan, oh, hold on, I'm clicking away here. Sorry, Alan, I'm clicking away. I shouldn't have control of this. Susan, I think we find purpose by looking to see where our lives hold the most light. That's I agree. So anyway, if you haven't got a purpose, if you don't know your purpose, like, does it matter? Does it matter?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Paul, what do you think?
Well, yeah, again, is it purpose or passion? I think if you've not got that passion and drive to get up in the day, you can very quickly turn to depression. I think, you know, I've suffered with depression in the past. Yeah. And I think when things aren't going great in your life, and you feel, what is the point and what is the purpose? Yeah, I think. But again, is it passion or purpose? That word.
Yeah. Let's just have a look at what Kath's saying. People often say their children or pets give them purpose, and so they get up and get on with life. I think we absolutely need purpose. It may not be our ideal purpose, but we maybe live to find the joyful one amongst the more mundane ones. Yeah. I think, do you know, last week when we talked about being content, and we decided content wasn't this big destination that we arrived at, but it was these micro moments almost that we could feel content in those moments. I wonder if, was it Susan or Kath that said earlier about whether we're confusing purpose with meaning, or whether they're entwined. I don't know. But maybe living a life of purpose or a life of meaning, again, isn't about some big destination or big, like, here I am, this is my life's purpose. But it's these moments of purpose within our day or our week. Do we, the more I look at things, the more I realize that there is no straight line, that and in fact our days and our weeks and our years and ultimately our life is made up of these moments. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and I think what Susan says there as well, she's just put that up. I think that makes
that's a good one.
Really good.
I don't think everyone is driven to find purpose. Some people just aren't ambitious and are happy enough just being where they are. I agree. And we've talked about that before, haven't we? That some people are happy to just be. And actually, I think that is perfectly, not just perfectly fine. That is more than okay, because that is, it takes you closer to being able to live in that moment. Here I am, I'm okay. I don't need to strive. I don't need to find. I don't need to question.
Yeah.
That to me is wonderful. So I think I was going to say I'm not built that way, but I'm wondering if that's quite a lazy answer, because I'm wondering if things like mindfulness or meditation would actually retrain the right way my brain thinks, which is sometimes all over the place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And the title of your vlog is A Life Full of Meaning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you found that meaning? Are you still searching for it?
Always searching for it. And I used to feel such a failure because I never felt I was there. Do you know? It was like the endless search. I thought I'm going to die one day, and it's just going to be like my past is just going to be, she tried, she failed, she tried, she failed, she tried, she failed. And it used to make me feel bad, but not anymore. I just I feel quite joyful in the trying, and I just see everything now as an experiment. So there is no failure ever. There's just an observation of how something went. So again, I just changed the way. Alan says, when I had my accident 2 years ago, watching all your vlogs gave me a purpose to work hard on my rehab and try and live my life instead of just watching it go by. Oh, Alan, that is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Dick's got to go. His lunch is ready. Oh, I hope it's something delicious. Here's a great question. One day more aboard. I think social media has made people question their purpose or life meaning far more, as you have a glimpse into other people's daily lives and you can't help but compare. That's, yeah. I mean, comparison, the whole comparison thing, I think never ends well. And if it makes you feel less than, which is why I have this love-hate relationship with social media. I love it because look what we're doing. We're here, we're having a great conversation. I love that. But then you take a glimpse into someone else's life, and the minute you think they've got it sorted, look at their life, they're doing it, they've got it sorted, and then it makes you feel worse, doesn't it?
And it can spiral into debt, can't it? I think, it's people feel like they've underachieved if they look at people who are wealthy and successful and famous, and it can make you feel like an underachiever. And I think that's probably why people go into debt. They can't afford the flashy cars and the flashy holidays and the flashy clothes, but they still go out and do that because that makes them feel good.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of like some of the creators that I watch, and I like the messy life. Do you know what I mean? I like people that haven't got it all together. I like people that are struggling through. Some days they're winning, some days they're not, and I think I find that inspires me. When I look at perfect lives, I think I'm never going to get there. So it feels unobtainable. And that's so one of the things that I know that I not got control of, but I can choose whether I can feel happy or sad or joyful. And that has made the biggest difference to me, I think. Does that make sense? Rather than comparing, is that choosing? Kath said, comparison is the thief of joy. I love this bit of social media, but other aspects I loathe. Susan, I think perfect lives are a bit boring. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't agree.
Yeah. Even though people go, sorry, Paul, go on.
I know. I look at Downton Abbey and think that's probably how I used to live, and I wish I lived like that now. But yeah, it probably wasn't my past life. It's just me wishful thinking.
I find it a really fine line between something that makes me want to aspire to be more, and then something that makes me think I'll never get there, but that's not me. I can't see myself there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I love alchemy. That's why I love Queer Eye so much. I love that alchemy of taking someone, and I love the change. That inspires me. So one day more aboard. Even though people by nature only post the good stuff and portray a sugar-coated life. Oh man, you should watch our vlog this week. I tell you what, I've just edited it, and it's last Saturday when my hard drive crashed. I've just edited the whole thing, and I mean, it depressed me to watch it, and I was like, do people need to see me just like crying like it's all gone? Yeah, I'm leaving it in. Feel free to skip it. So man, Kath says apparent perfect lives don't help me at all. Yeah. No. Oh man, I know we've talked about social media before and comparison and what it brings, but it's such a key topic. It really does, doesn't it? But I do think that when we see people that look like they have their life purpose mapped out, it is it can make us think, well, here I am, you know, and my life doesn't look like that at all. So all I can say though is that remembering, you know, earlier this week, that those things, conversation, community and connection, when I remembered way back in 2008 that I was like, this is my life's purpose, it sort of gave me a little bit of a, you know, all the stuff I was worrying about, it could fall by, because if I use that as a compass, I'm in the right direction. Whatever I'm doing, if it's featuring those things, I'm traveling the right way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that saying, isn't it, Lisa, of don't sweat the small stuff. And at the time, it doesn't seem like small stuff, like your hard drive. You know, I've had that happen where I've lost footage and it's a hard drive and you could cry and you're sweating because you're thinking, oh, all this material I got for the vlog and it's all gone. But then months down the line, you think, life still goes on, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. And to be honest, I felt that like the next day, to be honest. I was like, what am I talking about? There's wars raging in this world. You know, there's people with bigger problems and a bit of lost footage. So you're right. It is. It's the stuff that we think is really serious. So anyway, we've been chatting for ages now. Oh, I love it when I look and I think, oh, where did that time go? So I'm not sure that we discovered any answers or came to any real conclusion there. I'm not sure. It'll probably be one that we revisit maybe another time. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined us, and especially Kath and Susan. Really wonderful, you know, topics that made us really think. And thank you for the wonderful conversation. Hopefully we can join you next Thursday. We'll have a chat to make sure that we can all be here next Thursday. And have a great week and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye everyone. Bye.